don't know how well you guys can see that. That's the hurricane coming into Florida right now. So that was just actually just sent to me by JJ. So actually, let me kill. Actually, I didn't get an egg count either. Hold on, guys. I didn't even. All right, hold on. All right, so I got my message off to Heather, and we'll kill the volume, and there we go. All right, now we're ready. Nothing like being disorganized, right? Oh my goodness! Yeah, I just killed the heat was on, so the furnace was blowing. I'm like, yeah, well, I don't want to have that. Oh, she got back to me already. Okay, cool. All right. Okay. Yeah. So here's the weird thing. So talk about this. So we're going to talk about that in just a second. But before we get started, I just want to remind everybody, very family friendly oriented channel. Let's have a nice chat. No racism, no nastiness. Please do that, and then we can have a good stream. And so just be kind to one another. If you cannot do that, those awesome people lit up in blue will boot you out of here. All right. So, okay. So, first of all, yesterday, internet goes down. Here's the weird part. My internet has worked absolutely fine since I've been down here. Obviously, slower than I'm used to because I have the fiber optic high speed internet in New York. So, everything takes more time, right? So I had a video all made. It was going to talk about the election and all that type of stuff, and I actually have now deleted that video because it's like election's over. So, but I couldn't get on through. So there's two ways that I get on the internet down here. Okay, I have my phone, which I get so many gigabytes on the phone, and then I also have another device that I utilize that gives me like 150 gigs, okay, a month. And so I have them to use. And, like I said, I have, other than the fact that, gets glitchy sometimes, it's slower internet. But other than that, I've not had a problem. But yesterday, I could not get on at all. Try to figure, so, well, there must be some kind of an issue. And, it was crazy. It was crazy. So, yeah, so I went out to try to get back on today. Still same problem. I ended up having to call. I was on the phone for literally 2 hours today, which I was getting really frustrated near the end of that. But me and a lady that were talking, we got it figured out, and you know, will we ever see one day elections again? Well, that's a good. Probably not. Probably not. So. All right, so we're definitely going to talk about these elections, but it's interesting how things have worked out and how certain things are not called yet, and they're still doing counts and all that good stuff. So that is very interesting as well. So and now the other thing, YouTube continues to erode away my subscribers, which is interesting. Um, I find that well, they what Pet Prep Radio Show says who won. They don't even know yet. They have. They have to go through things. There are, what do you call it? There are three states or four states that are still up for grabs right now, as far as the Senate goes. And Georgia's doing a runoff. You have Nevada, Alaska, and Arizona that they haven't determined who the winner was yet for the Senate. They did lose Pennsylvania, and the Democrats pick up that seat, but they don't know what's going to happen in those other states. Yes, too close to call. Yeah, Fetterman win is a joke. Yeah, I have a real I just well how okay if Fetterman's a joke, how about the dead guy in Pennsylvania that won re-election? Isn't that amazing, right? Democratic candidate won re-election. So you're telling me according to the vote, that the dead guy is going to be a better candidate for that position than the one that's alive. Man, whose hat? Whose hat? Oh, the hat up here in the corner. All right, we'll talk about the hat again real quick, guys. All right, we'll talk about the hat real quick again. All right, it's my hat. This was given to me by a very awesome father and son team that run this bar. It's the Spittoon Saloon and Hunt Club. All right. If you ever, I'll show that again. If you ever get into that area of West Virginia and you find the Spittoon Saloon and Hunt Club, the proprietor's name is Eric, and definitely go in there and check them out. Have a cold beer. Very nice people. His son's name is Cody, so they run the place. But so yeah, so definitely check them out. Great place to get a cold beer, enjoy a nice game of pool, and relax. Ed, did you see the voting results map for New York State? Only blue districts were New York City, Albany, Syracuse, Rochester, Buffalo, and Ithaca. Of course, that is the way it goes every year. So when I tell people, once you get away from the cities in New York State, okay, rest of the state is very, very conservative. And see, this is what kills me about that because you have a concentration of a certain mindset of people in, well, look at Pennsylvania. Let's look at Pennsylvania, guys. You have now, and I'm not making any kind of speculation, not saying anything about any election, but I'm going to make an observation. I'm going to make an observation. We'll go back to New York in a second. You have Pennsylvania, which is predominantly a coal state. Once you get away from Pittsburgh, once you get away from Philadelphia and those areas, predominantly Republican, right? You have the coal industry is huge in Pennsylvania. Our president has basically just been saying ever since before the election when he was elected, before the election, I'm going to stop coal. I'm going to stop coal. So here you are in a state that is primary, one of the primary things that you do in the state, which is Pennsylvania, is coal. And you elect him, you get him elected. Make any sense, right? New York State's the same way, guys. Once you get away from the cities, it's a very, very conservative state. Very conservative state. Um, Eagle said, I voted for Prep Home. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Guys, I'll tell you that the whole political landscape drives me insane. It drives me insane because, so I'm going to tell you who won the election yesterday. And I'm going to give you an honest answer. You want to know? So I'm going to ask you guys, do you want to know who won the election yesterday? All right. So in the comments, yes or no, do you want to know who I believe won the election yesterday? All of them, all the elections, every state. I'll give you a very simple, easy answer. Very, very simple, easy answer. Okay. You know who won yesterday, guys? Big business won because they always win. You know why big business wins? Because all those politicians that you guys are voting for, because you guys know I don't vote, never have, never will, never register to vote, never will register to vote. Okay. All those politicians that you feel like you have some semblance of change, oh, it's going to change and we're going to this group is going to be better and 4 years later, no, this group is going to be better, right? Big business always wins. Why does big business always win? Can somebody tell me, can somebody tell me in here, and this is like a research thing, and you can look it up on your laptops and your computers, how much money lobbyists spent in Washington, D.C. this last year. We won't do this year, we'll do last year. Can anybody tell me how much money lobbyists spent in Washington last year? Now, who do lobbyists represent? Lobbyists represent big business, okay? Big business. I'm trying to remember the politician. I'm trying to remember the politician. There was some and I want you to think about this and tell me, does this make sense? This politician was running for office and spent $8 million of his own money to get elected. It was like, I can't remember exactly how much altogether was spent trying to get elected. Why would you spend, think about, and I mean, this is just, we're going to go a little common sense here. Why would you spend all kinds of money to get elected plus $8 million of your own money for a job that pays what, $190,000 a year? Does that make any kind of sense to you? Could there be other perks possibly by being an elected official? Can there be some influence that you may be able to have? Right? I want, and like I said, I'm not saying yes, I'm not saying no, I'm just asking questions. That's what I'm asking. Right? Big business will always win because they have their hands in the politician's pocket. The amount of money that big business donates to these campaigns on both sides of the aisle, folks. Big business is just, Russell Brand reported lobbyism recorded cost in a video months ago. Okay, well, I mean, but it's just, it's a lot of money. It's a tremendous, tremendous amount of money. And the reason that it's done is because to curry favor with whatever Billy the Kid Norwood says 3.7 billion. I don't know if it was that quite. I like I said, I honestly I don't know. You mean Beta, not Beto? Beta lost down in Texas for the third time, which I'm actually I was happy to see that. But no, his name is not Beto, it's Beta because he is a beta male. That's why. Just so you know that it's strictly an opinion, strictly an opinion. But uh, but anyway, at the end of the day, regardless of what candidate wins or what candidate loses, big business always wins because they're donating to both sides of the aisle, so they're hedging their bets. So a great example, I'm going to give you a great example, and I'm not picking out a politician, but I'm big business, I'm a big business company, right? And I really don't care who wins this election, from these two, this Republican candidate or this Democratic candidate. So I'm going to donate 250,000 to the Democrat side. I'm going to donate 250,000 to the Republican side. Why? Or if I realize that it's like going to be a landslide and one side is going to win no matter what. I mean, because some districts are predominantly red, some districts are predominantly blue. So I'm going to be smart about it. I'm not just going to piss away my money because I'm a very smart, rich businessman. So I'm going to make this big donation to this campaign fund for the candidate that I believe is going to win. Or if it's like too close to call and you don't know, well, that's when you have to, donate here and donate there, so you're being fair, right? You're not being fair. You're hedging your bets because whatever candidate wins, now you can slide in and you can say, okay, listen, you know what? I'm really, really happy for you, and I'm glad you won this election. We donated, XYZ amount of money to your campaign. We would like to continue to back you. There's a couple things that, a favor you could do for us. And so that's, we can keep these donations coming to you and we can give you the support and back you and give you volunteers and all this kind of good stuff that's going to help you get reelected year after year after year moving forward. But we just need some favors. I need you to do this legislation and get this through. It happens all the time, guys. It happens all the time. And it blows me away. It really, truly blows me away of the willful. And what does willful mean? On purpose, right? Or on purpose is not a word, but deliberately. Deliberately ignorant. So you're willfully ignorant. You know what's going on, but you don't pretend it's not happening. You don't care. And it goes on and forever and ever. And it never changes. It never changes. And then, you know, and then they expect different results all the time, and it's never going to change. Government officials are going to watch out for big business, okay? And they're going to watch out for the special interest groups that help got them elected. Period. Not you, not me. Oh, well, I voted and I made a difference. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Not really. All right. Not really. You need to wake up. You really need to wake up because the problem in this country is big business and then the government because big business is really the one in charge. You think that, oh, Obama or Trump or, Biden, they're in charge. No, they're not. They're a figurehead that is put out there every 4 years to give you some semblance that you have control or change of anything. I want you to think about this, and I want you to really think about this, okay? Now let's talk about gasoline prices right now, right? Well, big business is making record profits over this last couple of years because of what the gasoline and oil's gone up to crazy levels, right? Part of it, part of it is because of whatever administration is in office, what their policies are will absolutely dictate what happens with the energy. So when Trump was in office, he was drill, 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 baby. Let's go. Let's be an exporter. Let's be oil independent, right? We all know that, right? I mean, that's not anything that anybody doesn't know. As soon as Biden got in, his policies were we're going green because we're saving the planet and everybody's going to have an electric car and we're going to shut down this and we're not going to give out permits for drilling and all that type of stuff. Those are all facts. I'm not making any of that up. I'm not giving false information. Those are all facts. Keystone Pipeline was shut down, right? So his policies did directly affect what the gas prices are. Now, do I believe that there is a possibility, I'll put it like that. Do I believe that there's a possibility of manipulation by the oil companies for a barrel of oil? Ah, wouldn't shock me. I'll put it like that. I'll put it like that, right? So, how is it as a big businessman, right? I'm this huge corporation. I'm a big, huge corporation, and I'm coming to your city, Rochester, Minnesota. I'm thinking I might possibly build this big building in Rochester, Minnesota, and make it my headquarters for my company. We're going to be bringing a lot of people in, a lot of business for your city. What are you going to do for me? Well, oh, Mr. Billionaire, millionaire, we'll give you all these tax breaks, and you won't have to pay any taxes for 20 years, and there you are, right? Think it happens all the time. It happens all the time. They get special treatment. They get all kinds of breaks because they're bringing business into the area. They're bringing jobs into the area, which when you bring jobs into the area, people work, they spend their money, and they generally, spend it locally. So the local economy does pretty good because of that. So that's a trade-off. But why is it then, right? And if I'm wrong on this, tell me, please tell me. Why is it then that every year, me, Mr. Small Homeowner, why does my taxes go up every single year and it never comes down? Because, oh, well, we need more money for this and we need more money for that and blah 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 blah, right? I told you guys, in New York, my property in New York, my assessment of my property doubled last year. Doubled. They doubled my assessment of my property. Okay. What does that mean? That means my taxes for that property hasn't changed. Not really changed at all, right? It's going to be double this year. And I just got the one tax bill already. So yeah, that's what happens. That's what happens. So, and that's another one of the reasons why I wanted to be out of New York, you know. So, but you know, you should have trimmed your trees and cleaned up. I'm not getting rid of my property in New York now. What I'll probably end up doing, you want to know honestly what I'll probably end up doing with my property in New York? What I'll probably do, I'll sign it over to my daughter, and I'll have it in where it's her property. But we will write it up that if something happens to me and I die, I'll have lifelong use of the property, but it'll be hers. And then, when I die, then it's split evenly between her and her brother, and that would take care of that. But this is guys something that's been going on forever and ever and ever. That, and somebody put in the definition of insanity earlier in here. Definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over and over again and expecting different results. And that's what politics is. Is a 16-year-old kid, okay? Is a 16-year-old kid. I looked at the political situation, and like I said, I'm not a Democrat, I'm not a Republican. I think for myself, I have some liberal views, I have some conservative views. It's my views that I'm not associated with any of that. Oh, I'm this party or that party, and they're nuts, and we're fine, and we're the saviors, and they're the idiots. It's nuts. Okay, but I realized at 16 that these politicians were full of crap, and I didn't want to be any part of that ever. And I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it when people say, "Oh my God, you don't vote. You don't get to say so." Well, of course I get to say so. I'm a human being and I have my opinion. And because I believe in there's so much corruption, right? That I choose, I make a choice. See, I'm making a choice by not participating. It's not my duty. It's not something that I have to do. Look at the turnout, guys. Look at the turnout realistically of the number of people that actually do go out and vote. It's really not that high. It really isn't. It's not really that high. So, if you want to judge me, thank you very much. I appreciate the judgment. I've been judged all my life and I will continue to be judged. And I'm okay with that. Because guess how it's going to affect my sleep tonight? Not at all. I'm still going to sleep just fine. Nothing is going to change. And, if you voted, great. Good for you. Congratulations. I'm happy for you. But what I'm telling you is, and you may agree or disagree, which is also fine. Okay. EV3 Dale, 63% of my county or country. Yes, I did judge you on that ad sleep. Like you still like that's all right. You know what? Like I said, we can disagree. We can agree to disagree. Okay. We can agree to disagree. But what I'm telling you is at the end of the day, Republicans or Democrats win, it makes no difference. No difference. Okay? No difference. Only thing that really makes a difference, if you really want to look at it this way, what makes a difference? Supreme Court, right? If you have a bunch of liberals on the Supreme Court, a lot of liberal policies are going to get put through, right? A lot of liberal thoughts. If you have more conservatives on the Supreme Court, then obviously you're going to get more of those policies going through. But if you actually believe that your life is going to get better because this party or that party's in charge, I personally believe, and it's my opinion, and I have the right to my opinion, I think you're delusional. Because again, who's running things? Let me ask you this, okay? Anybody that is paid out of pocket for health insurance knows exactly what I'm talking about. Every single year, health insurance goes up 12, 15%, whatever they determine that they want to put it up to, right? So it's always going to go up. And they got a stranglehold on a market. Insurance companies, same thing. Your insurance never, what you figure, okay, I'm older. I figure I might be safer, right? Because I'm older now. I may not be driving as fast as I used to when I was a 20-year-old kid. My car insurance really ain't gone down that much. I mean, it's gone down some, but not really a lot. But that's a racket in itself, you know. Power and water, yeah. I mean, if you don't pay your power gets shut off. If you don't pay your water bill gets shut off. And of course, these counties and towns and municipalities, they have the rules in place. You have to be having your water on. You have to have your power on, or your home is going to be condemned and you're going to be kicked out of your home. It's and then heaven forbid you don't pay your taxes. If you don't pay your taxes, well, oh boy, you're in big trouble. So, you know, AARP. Hey, I'm not there yet, JJ. So let's. I got to tell you something funny with that. I got something in the mail from AARP, and I said to my buddy Steve, Ed, you are a cool mother, and that's a fact, brother. Well, thank you, man. Hey, listen, I'm going to tell you what, guys. I say it like it is. I don't sugarcoat it. If you're upset by what I say, that's your problem. That's not a me problem. That's a you problem because you're allowing yourself to get upset because maybe I might be right, right? Holy crap, this guy might have some truth behind what he's saying because I think for myself and I don't listen to the propaganda of this side or the propaganda of that side. I make independent decisions, and I see the corruption that happens all the time. How many times do we see in the news? And I want you to think again. See, these are all things. All I really want you to do, guys, realistically, is think. Is just think. Make a decision. Look at the situation. Look at the information that you're fed, because you are fed a certain amount of information. That's a fact. You don't always get the truth. You get what you are allowed to hear. And so I agree with you 99% of the time. Well, thank you, Stephen. I appreciate that. Like I said, I don't think I'm old enough to be AARP yet, but I got some stuff in the mail from that. So I tell you, this was actually funny. So I said to Steve, I am like so pissed off today. He's like, what? I said, I got this crap in the mail from AARP. Well, if you're 55 and older, I guess you can have, whatever. I'm like, screw that. I don't want that crap. So we were laughing about that, but yeah. Oh, it's 50 and older. Well, I I don't know. I not for me. Don't want it. Again, well then they lock you in, and then all of a sudden you're lamb blasted with propaganda, for so 50 and older. Okay, well. Oh yeah, I'm Elisa, I'm way past 50. I'm closer to 60. 60 is closer to me than 50. So, yeah, I'm an old man. Old man with an attitude. Well, I'll tell you, you'll get a kick out of this one. So I was coming home the one day over the summer, and so the deer were out in the upper meadow, and I was coming in, and I stopped the truck, and I put the window down, and I yell out, "Get off of my lawn!" Like an old man, we're like kids around his yard, the kids around his yard, and I'm like, "Get off of my lawn!" Oh my god, it's too funny. And I just laughed and laughed. I mean, it was just me by myself. But I believe me, I can amuse myself very, very easily. Very, very easily. So uh listen, you have to laugh a lot of times because it's just things are so beyond ridiculous, beyond ridiculous. So yeah, and the deer probably did just look at me. That's right. But you know, if you think that there was going to be some kind of pronounced change because of this election, um, when did I serve in the army? Right out of high school, right when I graduated from high school. So, but I was a 19-year-old kid, super gung ho. Got done with basic training AIT, and I'll tell you what, if they had pointed us in a direction and said, "Go do that," you didn't even question it. Didn't even question it. You just that's the reprogramming that you go through. Um, I think it's a good thing in some ways. In some ways, I don't know. It made me grow up, which I needed to do. It taught me respect, responsibility, and but I don't know. Like I said, for me, I needed it. I needed it because I was not a really good kid. So, uh, 80K man. Yep. Control what you can control. Don't get flustered over what you cannot. That's perfect sense. So, M. Hammer said, Ed, I'm glad you're on tonight. Well, thank you, man. I appreciate that. So, The only difference realistically in this election, if the Republicans take over the House, okay, and I mean, who know? I don't know what's going to happen with the Senate yet, but it looks like the Republicans are going to take the majority in the House, and if that's the case, they can grind the wheels and stop him from pushing stuff through. All right. John said, I ran away from home and enlisted on my 19th birthday. Oh, I senior in high school. I signed up in January of my senior year. Went to a here's the funny thing is, since I was a little kid, I had the little green army men and I played army all the time and I loved that and stuff. Had my GI Joes, all that type of stuff. And I only ever wanted to be a soldier. It's all I ever wanted. All I ever wanted. And so when it came time for, I mean, at 18, I had to, for the selective service. But as soon as I was a senior in high school, I went to a recruiter's office and said I want to join. And so I'll tell you the story of that. What happened was they give you the ASVAB test, and for whatever reason, when I took that test, they never told me what I scored on it, but I'll put it like this: I scored high enough that I started out as an E2. They gave me a stripe right off the bat. So when I was in basic, I already had a stripe because I was an E2 where everybody else was an E1, and there was a couple other guys that were also E1 or E2s. So, but box of cheeses, please, John. Okay, yeah, you want me to pick up a box, John? I will do that. I'll get a box and we'll get rid of the Lucky Charms and we'll get another box of Cheez-Its up there. All right, thank you very much for the donation, man. I appreciate it. So, but anyway, so I scored really well on that, and I guess and I'm not like tooting my horn that I'm so superior and I'm so much smarter, but I know that I've always been smarter than the average bear. Like I said, I think for myself, and it's always been that way, and I don't get caught up. As a kid, you're more influential, I guess, and but as I matured and look at things more rationally. I never saw combat. I will tell you this. I missed Grenada by like 6 weeks when I got down to permanent party. The guys had just gotten back from Grenada, so I literally missed Grenada by 6 weeks, and they were like, "Oh, it was awesome," and down there but yeah, so it just it's one of those things, and so I never did see combat, and I look back now and I'm very grateful that I didn't. At the time, obviously, it's what you want. You want it. You want to go to war. It's like, yes, let's go, rah rah rah, because that's what's it's drilled in. You know what I mean? It's drilled in, and so, um, it just seeing the results of 20 straight years of war in this country and what it's done to our young men and women. It hurts me. It hurts my heart because it just, again, I served with a veteran of the 82nd Airborne who parachuted into Grenada. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Nothing wrong with that. But, I just, you look yeah, they make you believe you're all Superman. Yeah, you're invincible. That's what you think until, you know, it changes you. And even the folks that come back whole physically, they're never mentally the same. Just because of what they saw, what they had to do. I'm going to tell you what, I have a lot of respect for combat veterans, always have, always will, because they were in the crap. And we didn't call it in the crap, we called it something else. But, you know, the one thing I'll tell you right now, and I would implore you all never, never to do this. And unfortunately, so many people, it's the first thing that they do when they talk to a combat veteran. Don't ever ask them, have you killed anybody? Because they don't want, if they have, they don't want to talk about it. And they're certainly not going to talk about it with Joe Blow. So if you get some guy who's like, oh, yeah, I killed this many people, blah, 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 probably never served. He's probably full of crap, and that's it. Because anybody that did serve, um, you know, that's something that they don't want to talk about. So I have never, not one time, ever asked anybody, what they did or if they killed anybody or stuff like that. So yeah, it's just I had an uncle that was in special forces during Second World War, and he was actually one of the guys that liberated one of the concentration camps, and he never carried a gun. He would carry a garrote, if you know what a garrote is, and a knife. And they did a lot of very stealthy operations. And when he came home, my grandmother told me this story that they were sitting around, they were sitting around talking about the experience, after many, many drinks. And he told her stuff. It was just him and her, and he told her stuff. And she said, Ed, it would make you sick what he had to do and what he saw in those type of things. So, like I said, looking back, I'm very, very grateful. But I also always respect anybody that's had to go into combat because it's not an easy thing. So that's just me. You guys can do what you want to do. I'm just giving some advice. Yeah, war is not Hollywood. It's not. No, to lose friends in combat, I can't even imagine what that's like. People that you served with, that you forged relationship with, that are your friends, and then to lose them. So my brother fought in the jungles of Vietnam, came home and died in a car crash 2 months later. Yeah, well, and here's the other thing I want you to actually think about. I'm sorry to hear that, by the way, Fortune Cookie. Um, but here's the other thing you got to think about. I want you to think about the number of veterans, and that number is 22, that every single day, 22 veterans coming back from the war commit suicide. So, psychologically, it's a very, very tough thing. So a lot more people actually die because of the war than when they're, killed in combat or maimed or injured in combat. So think about that. Think about that. And again, so let's go back to this. Let's go back to this, okay? Who benefits from war? And I want you to think about this and answer. Who benefits from war? It's always the same people, guys. It's always the same people. Well, it's kind of twofold, but big business, corporations, exactly. And they benefit the most from war, and then yeah, the military industrial complex. And you know, as the superpower of the world, if you will, the United States of America, we put our fingers in a lot of pies. There's a lot of things happen. I want you to think about this. Let's go back. Let's just think about this. Gaddafi, who did a ton, a ton for his country. They were doing very, very well. But the one thing Gaddafi did that we were not going to allow to happen, right? What was that? So we're going to talk about this a second. What did Gaddafi do that the United States said, no, that can't be allowed to happen? What did Gaddafi do, guys? I want you to think about this. Thank you very much, John. John pays attention. I like you, John. You're a very sharp young man, probably younger, about the same age as me, but yes, very, very sharp. Gold standard. Hey, Tiny Titan. My daughter is a suicide coordinator in the VA. She loses at least 2 men a day. That's tough. I'm sorry to hear that. That's got to be a terrible, terrible job. So they went on Libya, went on the gold standard. They did not go on the fiat dollar, right? So they were going on a gold standard. So their money was backed by gold. Well, we couldn't have that. We couldn't have that. Iraq did the same thing. Think about this. I want you to think about this. Iraq did the same thing. What happened? What happened with Libya? What happened with Iraq? Oh, and the other one, just so you know, there was a third one that wouldn't do it either, and that was Syria, right? So what's happening there? I wonder who, not making any accusations in any way, shape, or form, I wonder who was supporting the rebels in those countries. That's a curiosity question. Wonder what that would be. I wonder who backed them. Isn't that interesting? Something to know. And how has Libya fared? And here's so let's go back. We're going to go back to Libya. How has Libya fared since they killed Gaddafi? How's Libya done, guys? Anybody know? Libya was doing great. They were thriving under Gaddafi. Now, was he a dictator? Sure. Okay. Was he running the show? Absolutely. Right. But were they doing very well as a country? Were they thriving as a country? They sure were. They sure were. What are they now? Yep. Prep Pep radio show. EV3 Dale in the toilet, third world. Yeah, it's kind of crap again over there. Absolute crap. Hmm. Either you do what we say or we will crush you. That is the United States of America. And I wish more people could see that. Oh, we're the white knights. We're the ones in shining armor. You have no idea. You have no idea what we do. You have no idea what we do. You don't I'm going to give you one example. One example. Collateral damage, right? Drone strikes. We're taking out the bad guys. We're taking out the bad guys. They just don't always mention that along with that bad guy that we have determined, the United States of America, has determined to be the bad guy. Not only do we take him out, well, we took out 20 of his family members too. And does that, Prepper Nurse 1, does that include women and children? Think about it. Collateral damage. There's lovely little words like that sugarcoat everything. I'm going to give you one more thing here on this, and I want you to think of. See, this. All I want you guys to do is think. I want you to think. Okay. The suicide bomber when we were leaving Afghanistan, right? Do you remember that suicide bomber? So we determined it was this gentleman over here was the mastermind. So we killed him with a drone strike and a bunch of his family members as well. And I don't remember exactly how many people we killed. But wait a minute. Oh my God, lo and behold, he wasn't the guy. He wasn't the guy. He wasn't the one that did that. He didn't plan it. But guess what, folks? He's still just as dead, and so are his family members. Do you think that maybe there might be some justified hatred of the United States of America from some of these people? Do you think about that? In that bombing, Jay, there was more with the suicide bombing. There was over 200 people were killed. 13 American soldiers and a couple of hundred of civilians. Yep. So, and you wonder why these people hate us and want to see America brought down. You wonder why, right? That's why. And it ain't Joe Average Soldier, okay? It's not Joe Average Soldier. Joe Average Soldier volunteers for the service. He goes in, he serves his country because he wants to do the right thing. He wants to represent America. He wants America to be safe. But what was the advantage of Iraq? What was the advantage of Afghanistan? What did we do? What did we accomplish there? Did we free the people? Are they all free now and everybody's happy? Or are they right back in the same boat that they were in 20 years ago before we got in there? Oil in Iraq, okay, and because they wouldn't do what they were told. There's there's that. Also, in Afghanistan, rare earth minerals, a tremendous amount of rare earth minerals. Where do you think a lot of those, with us being at war over there for 20 years? What do you think? Yeah, what did a Korea accomplish? What did Vietnam accomplish? Exactly, exactly, right? So something to think about. Okay, so we're at 411 in the chat. I'm sorry, I've been on a little bit of a soapbox here tonight, and I apologize, but I just wish people would realize how badly we are being constantly manipulated, constantly. And everybody gets caught up in these elections, and oh yes, yes, this guy won. Okay, now listen, I'll be honest. Stacey Abrams, can't stand her, couldn't stand her. Am I glad she lost her election? Absolutely yes. That's being honest. Certain people I don't care for. I'll be honest with you. The whole Oz and Fetterman thing really didn't have a stake in that one, so I didn't have a dog in that hunt. So I really don't know anything about either one of them. So that's just me being honest. I would have liked to seen Hochul go down, but there's too many idiots in New York State that are going to want to you know, keep bringing her back. Why do you think I want to be out of there? So they can continue to give more and more oppressive laws, limiting law abiding citizens from being able to protect and defend themselves. I don't want to be any part of that. I don't want to be any part of that. So, all right. So, real quick, we got 441 in the chat, guys. We're at 226 on the thumbs up. If you have not shot a thumbs up yet, um, you know, if please do so to show support for the channel. If I could speak, that would be great. Uh, also, uh, it really does make a huge difference with the algorithm. So the more interaction we have, the better it is for the channel. So I thank you for that reason as well. Last but not least, if you are not subscribed to the channel, I would ask you to please subscribe, making sure that you hit that bell icon to get all notifications as well. All right. So, see, the thing is, I know I hurt people's feelings when I talk about this type of stuff because a lot of people have this delusion that they're making a change or they're making a difference, but you're really not at the end of the day. Because until we go after big business and get them reined in, until we go after the government and get them reined in, nothing's going to change. Nothing's going to change. The rich are going to get richer and we're going to get poorer. And then the next 2 years down the road or the next 4 years down the road, you're all going to be like, oh, well, we're going to vote these guys in because it'll be different. Never is. Never is. Look at the history. Look at what's happened just in the last 20 years, regardless of who was in the White House, regardless of who was running Congress, regardless who was running the Senate. Look at it. Pay attention to it. Watch it. So, Jay said they have to suck it up. You're only speaking the truth. Well, I have no problem speaking the truth. I say it like it is again. So, yes, egg count time. Thank you, JJ. Sorry. I get on my soapbox, folks, and I get so annoyed and so irritated. I love my group members. Love my group members. We're gonna talk about this in just a second. Well, we'll talk about that in a second. So, how many eggs and yes or no for thick neck? So we'll give you guys a minute, and I will tell you what the answer is. Hey, Lisa Johnson. Oh, let's hold on a second. It's all about the resources and kickbacks on weapons. Washington is getting rich over Ukraine, both Democrats and Republicans. Of course, yes. Thank you so much for the statement, in which I agree with you 100%. And thank you very much for the donation as well. Thank you. So, give you guys a minute to get your guesses up there. See, the problem why a lot of people don't like me, and I will tell you honestly, because I don't sugarcoat squat. I say it like it is. You can agree with me, you can disagree with me, which is perfectly fine. I don't have a problem. If you think it makes a difference, keep doing the same thing and see what changes. That's all I'm saying. There's an old saying. I'm going to give you the answer here in a minute. There's an old saying. Crap in one hand and wish in the other and see which one fills up first. I think you know which one fills up first, right? Okay. So, if you had the same guess as the all-seeing cat, then you are 100% correct. And no for thick neck, of course. So one egg, no thick neck today. She has not been laying for a while now. Yeah, which hand would be less smelly? Exactly. But things were 1,000% better when Trump was in. Well, the economy was definitely in good shape. Definitely in good shape. Right up until just before election time and that last year, and everything happened, and there was an event, and who knows how. Isn't that interesting how that all worked out? Very interesting. So anyway, Congratulations to the all-seeing cats. You've won absolutely nothing except bragging rights until the next time. But yeah, George Carlin. Listen to George Carlin. George Carlin, he said it best. It's a big club, and you ain't in it, and neither am I. So just 80K man said it best on here. Control what you can control, and don't get too upset over the rest. What I was saying was before, I was talking about. I love my group. I got a great group of people in my group, and they're all. We have a group chat there where we speak with each other in the group chat, and they're all like, "Oh, this is this, and this is this with this whole election thing," and they know how I feel about politics, and they're like, "Oh, we're probably driving Ed crazy," and it's not that you're driving me crazy, but I just look at the bigger picture of stuff. And if you want real significant change, folks, there's only one way to get it. There's only one way to get it. So, and until enough people stand up and say enough is enough, nothing is ever going to change except the control over you will get worse. Period. Your pay is not going to go up, or they give you pittance, right? They give you a little bit, but your health insurance is going to go up. Your groceries are going up. The price at the gas at the pump is going up. So when you have, and I had to laugh when Biden said I'm thinking about doing a luxury tax on the oil companies because they've made so much money off of this, right? You think that's ever going to go through? You think they'll actually do some kind of tax? Do you really think so? Huh? What do you think? All right. I want to talk about this one for a second too. All right. And this is just as laughable to me, just as laughable. All these attorney generals going after big pharma over the whole oxy thing, right? Remember all that? And they've sued them, and yeah, we got this, $6 billion judgment against big pharma, and they have to pay out this money, right? Right. But what they don't tell you is that payout in a lot of cases is over 10, 20 years. They don't have to come up with that money now. They've gotten uh, filthy, stinking rich on people. How many people? And this is a question in the chat, and all you got to do is say yes or no. The question is this: has OxyContin, okay, painkiller, narcotics? Just go with regular narcotics, but especially oxy because that's just so addictive. Is that something that has affected either you directly or somebody in your family or somebody you care about in a negative way? So this is a yes or no question for you guys, and I would like to see what you have to say in the chat. So yes or no question: does somebody you know or somebody in your family or you personally possibly been affected by somebody that has had, with OxyContin? It's about 50-50 in the comments. I'm gonna with what I'm seeing here. It's about 50-50. Maybe a few more yeses than nos, but let's say it was 50%. 50% of the people know somebody who's been negatively affected by this. So that person's family's been destroyed, probably. They're possibly dead, right? Because that leads to other things and a lot of issues, imprisonment, right? All these things have been people's lives have been affected very negatively by this. And what does big pharma get as a slap on the wrist? And they got to pay out some money when they've already made a ton, and they act like it's some kind of a victory, right? Those How many of those people are getting their lives back? How many people that have been imprisoned because of that addiction? Um, you know, how many of them are getting their lives back? How many people that lost mom or auntie or dad or somebody to addiction because of big pharma? How many of them are getting their family members back? So it's Oh yeah. So okay, Kathy made a good point. She had two people, one dead, the other on Suboxone. And Suboxone is made by who? Suboxone's made by Big Pharma. So they get you addicted in the first place because of the opioid issue. And I shouldn't say they get you addicted. Oxycontin is a very addictive thing. Okay, I have to be careful the way I'm wording things, and I want to just make it clear. Oxycontin is very addictive. If you were on it for whatever, a lot of times people end up having issues because of that addiction. Okay, and a lot of times what happens is they get them off of Oxycontin and put them on Suboxone. So Suboxone is something that is given to heroin addicts generally. Okay, so somebody that gets addicted to heroin and then they get off heroin, a lot of times they put them on Suboxone, and then they're on Suboxone. Guess how long? Guess how long they're on Suboxone? How long do you think? How long do you think they're going to be on Suboxone? In the comments, guys, how long? Absolutely right. Forever. They never come off of it. For life. Forever. And who benefits from that? Who benefits from that? Again, you wonder why I am not a huge fan of Big Pharma? As a nurse, as a nurse with 30 years in the field, 30 years in the field, okay? I have seen so many things, so many things. I could tell you stories. I could sit here and do streams and just tell you nothing but stories, and you would be like, no way. But yeah, yeah, way. So, yeah, I have a huge issue with a lot of it. So, anyway, so that's. Oh, so now you're gonna love this story. Get ready for a fun story. I misplaced my folder, right? I've told you that. Like my notepad where I had all of my stuff. So this is a brand new one, right? So I had misplaced it. I looked everywhere for this stupid folder and I could not find it. I could not find it. I'm like, I know it's here somewhere. It's here somewhere. No, you gotta listen to the story. So today I was out and I was walking in a certain area and I'm like, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna take a leak off the ledge. And as I'm taking my leak, I look over to my right and I go, you have got to be kidding me. There it is. Um, it's much drier now than it was, but um, it's a mess. So I found it, and that was my. I was so frustrated because I'm like no, it wasn't it wasn't Hella. Hella didn't do it. I think what happened was I had set it down, meaning to go pick it up, and then I had gotten busy with other stuff, and then the wind had blown it over the ledge, and it was just sitting there. So, yeah, but so I found it, and Steve was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you found it." I said, "You have no idea how irritated I was and how frustrated I was because I could not find this stupid notebook." And he goes, "Oh, I know you were just mad. You were just and like I said, I don't care that it's all wet. I can transfer the information that I need to transfer, which I'm going to have to because this is obviously ruined. But I have the list. I have the list tonight. So you're going to get the list off of this, and I'll show you again, just to kind of give you an idea of just how bad this is. I mean, it's all dirty. So this is where the pen was. The pen was here, and that's where that line is right there, in there, right? That's where the pen was. So yeah. So too funny, but yeah, I found it. So I'm like, oh, awesome. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make two copies of the list, and when I do go back to New York, I will be taking one of those copies up there. I will leave one of those copies down here. So then that way we don't ever have the issue again. Um, Yeah, it's definitely seen better days. But I got my inform and I got other information in there that I really wanted because I normally keep it here in right in the camper. But I what I the so how did it get down there in the first place? We're gonna do the shout outs here in just a second. Um, Steve said, "Hey, you got an extra piece of paper? I need a piece of paper." So I grabbed my notebook and I walked down there and I tore out a piece of paper for him and gave him the piece of paper, and that's how it started. So, but well, I have it now, so I'm good to go. But no, you know what? So I'm going to say one thing, and then we're going to do some shout outs. Okay, if you want to vote, guys, knock yourselves out and vote. I'm not, I have my opinion on voting. You obviously heard it tonight. You know how I feel about voting, about politics, about politicians. Okay, but if you feel like it makes a difference, go ahead and keep voting. You know, I've had people, oh well, you need to do this, and I don't need to do a freaking thing, and I'm not gonna do a freaking thing. I can't stand it. I hate it. Um, I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna sit here and say, well, I'm smarter than you, because I know better. That's not. I would never do that. We all have to do what we feel is right, and so you know that's I think is important. And I just like I said, I can't buy into the system. You know, Tony Blackmoon said politics and religion are one and the same. I can't disagree with that statement, Tony. I feel about that too. So, but anyway, and again, you have the right to your opinion. I will always respect your right to whatever you want to believe. And there's no judgment on my part if you want to partake in the system or not. Either way. Now, obviously, and it happens all the time, because I partake in either the political system or the religious system, I am judged constantly. And that's okay too, because guess what? I don't care. I don't care. So, but anyway, all right. So now that we got all that out of the way, and I'm sure there's people out there right now going, Prepper Nurse One is an a hole. Yes, I am. So, and I'm very, very good at it. Very good at it. And I've been one for a very long time. So, all right. Uh, so all right. So first shout out, Icky Can up in Canada. Love Icky Can, real good channel. Definitely show him some support as well. Angry Prepper. Angry Prepper will be here this weekend. So when we do our get together this weekend, he will be here. We have Alaskan Prepper, which is Rudy, and he's got a real good channel up there in Alaska. So definitely check him out as well. You have Alaska Granny. Then there is Sean James and My Self Reliance, two different channels, same guy. Really good information with him. Definitely check him out. North Shore Preparedness, you have Corporal's Corner. There's Bjorn Hansen, 80K Man, who is up in the Adirondacks. Bizza Jizza, who's also up in New York and does the Carrington Chronicles. So definitely check him out as well. You have Marfugal News out on the West Coast with Adam and Dax. Definitely go show them support too. I really like their channel as well. You have Magic Prepper in North Dakota. There is, and actually, he's just moved. I just talked to him the other day. You have Wrangle Star with Cody, really good channel as well. A lot of good information there. You have Red Poppy Ranch. There's Survival Lily. You have Kyle's Cabin up in Minnesota. Kyle and Sierra doing their thing up there. A nice young couple. You have Bush Radical and Girl in the Woods, husband and wife team. Two separate channels. A lot of good information with them as well. Let's see. You have Green Greg's, another really good channel. A lot of good information with him as well. Southern Prepper One, who does the Boots on the Ground series. A lot of good information there as well. You have Gray Man Prepping. There's St. Bernard Acres with Joe. You have Doug and Stacy, another really good channel. Definitely check them out as well. The Nomadic Movement down in Panama. Again, young couple. They were up. Actually, they just went back to Panama because they had some issues. They were up in Connecticut, trying to get their coffee shop going up there, and they ran into some issues. So they just went back to Panama. You have the Green Dream Project, and they are out in Arizona. Really like their channel. A lot of good stuff there as well. Camping with Steve Wallace. Definitely check him out as well. You have Bush Doctor Survival. There is Monkey Works, The Needy Homesteader, another really good channel. Boss of the Swamp, I've been following him for years, really like his channel. Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project. Diamond's very, very intelligent, guys. Check him out. Listen to what he has to say because he does know what he's talking about. You have Patera with the Appalachian Homestead. There is City Prepper, Lumina Acres, Suspicious Observer, Bear Independent, The Uneducated Economist. You have Bushcraft Bear in the Canary Islands in La Palma. You have Mary Greeley News giving you all the updates with the earthquakes in Yellowstone and everything else that's going on that way. A lot of good information with her. You have Adapt 2030. There's Malachi's Corner, Ice Age Farmer, Ryan Hall, y'all, for the weather. Definitely check out Ryan Hall. Love him with doing the weather. Really good guy. Russell Brand, another really good channel. Makes you, excuse me, makes you think. And I think that that is important to do. I got to take a drink, guys. Hold on. So definitely check him out. Deep South Homestead. You have the Outsider. There is the Fit Farmer. There's Prep Rebel. Simple Life Reclaimed. You have Townsend's. There is the Prepared Mind out in California. Pinball Preparedness in Tennessee. Another really good channel. East Tennessee Preparedness. The Economic Ninja. And Little House Off Gritty. So those are the channels, and those are the shout outs for tonight. And so if please check them out, show them some support. The other thing I was going to mention really quickly is Heather's Etsy account. Heather does jewelry, and she also does crocheting. So she'll make cat hats, or if you want a hat yourself or a scarf, she can do that as well. So JJ will throw up her link for that, and so definitely go and show her some support as well. I think we should be supporting each other as far as the other channels go. There's a lot of good information out there. Excuse me, and so I definitely I think that that's a good thing. So a lot of good information, and it's nice to look at. JJ just put Heather's link up, guys. So if you're interested, go check that out. I think that it's that is a little prepper than good. You know what, we just day by day that we get, we got to keep pushing. Try to take care of what we can take care of. Work on what we need to work on. I want you to think about this, and this is just a great example. Okay, so today I had to go out. We're doing this build this weekend, so I'm trying to prep ahead of time for this build, get the different things that we need. So I had to go and get the bolts and the washers and the can't think of, I'm going blank here. The washers and the bolts. The bolts and the screws. So it ties it all together, right? So I had to go and I had to pick that up today. So that's one of the things that I did today. The nuts. Thank you very much. I was absolutely going blank and I could not think about it. SHTF happens. Where are you getting that stuff? Where are you going to get it? There's not going to be a store to go and go pick this stuff up anymore. It's not going to be there. There's not going to be any store to go to. So you're going to, and this is important. I want you guys to think about this. You're going to have what you have. When SHTF happens, the day SHTF happens, you're going to have what you have. There is not going to be time to run out, go to the store, get this, get that, get the other thing. You're going to have what you have. So if you are prepared fairly decently, it's going to give you a huge, huge advantage. And I think that that's what you need to do. Get what you need to get. If you have projects or plans to do this, that, the other thing, try to get those things in place. So, EV3 Dale said, usually with mature women, there are far less games. Well, I will tell you, I mean, some of the people, I haven't really talked about my first wife a lot. She's no longer with us. She's passed away quite a few years ago now. But my first wife was 12 and a half years older than me. Okay. And um, when I was a young man, I dated nothing but older women because I hated the games that the young girls played. They were way immature. They did not have their heads on straight. And so I always dated older women. So when I met my first wife and, we ended up getting married, she was 12 and a half years older than me. Now, here's the downside of that. All right. So when we were together, she was like, oh, well, you're going to want to find somebody younger and you're going to want to have kids. And I'm going to tell you what, if we had stayed together, I would have never had children. Okay, it just would have been what it was. But it, you know, that didn't work out, and so I had left her. And when I met my second wife, um, my second wife was 4 years younger than me, and it wasn't like I want. The thing is like so here I am I'm 57 years old. Okay, if you got about a 10-year window, so once you get past 10 years with somebody, what happens is it's a different generation. So when I'm talking about things that I remember and that I, have seen and stuff like that, they don't know what the heck you're talking about. So when you're dating somebody quite a bit younger, that's what happens, you know. And so I mean, can it work out either way? Younger men dating older women, younger women dating older men. Absolutely can work out. It can. I had a really good couple that I knew, friends of mine, awesome, awesome people. There was a 32-year age difference with them. 32 years age difference. Well, guess what? They had been married for 30 years. They had a bunch of kids together, and they were still together and they were still happy. So it happens. It happens, and it can be successful. Now, realistically what happens. So a good example, Cher. Let's go with Cher. Cher, 76 years old. She's dating some guy who is 36. You think he's in it for love? You think he loves her? Or could it be a little bit of this? I don't know. Could be. Maybe they're in it for love. Who knows? I don't know. But the reality is, most of the time, if somebody is much, much, much younger, they're looking for security, boy or girl, doesn't matter. Okay. And that happens. It happens a lot. It happens a lot. And again, I'm not giving any kind of judgment on that. That's to each their own. And yeah, Anna Nicole Smith. Well, yeah. Well, I'm sure Anna Nicole. Hey, hey, hey. Anna Nicole Smith married for love. She loved him. Prep Rebel, her pet prep radio show. She loved him. Those of you that are old enough to know exactly what we're talking about, and it's a joke. Yeah, she had a sign that she carried around that said "Gold Digger." No, she never did, but she sure was. All right, we are Legion. I know I'm on a tangent. Sorry. We are Legion because we are many. We're all over the world. We're all over the country. Where is everybody from tonight? We have Philip from Melbourne, Australia. Good day, Philip. Southwest Oklahoma, Waterloo, New York, Franklin County, Ohio, Montreal, Quebec, Nowhere, Oklahoma, 80K man up in the Adirondacks, BC, Canada, Inverness, Florida, with Clyde in the house, Gatlin, Pennsylvania, Kingsport, Tennessee, North Carolina, Fort Worth, Western New York, Southwest Iowa, Littleton, New Hampshire, Lake East, Ohio, Tucson, Arizona, Greenlee County, Arizona, East Central Illinois, Connecticut, Campbell, Missouri. We got West Virginia with Morning Light, Verone, BC, Canada, Silverville, Tennessee, Charlotte County, Florida, Eagle Mountain, Texas, Colorado, BC, Canada, Byron, Texas, Long Island is in the house, Waterloo, New York, Auburn, California, St. Augustine, Florida, South Jersey's in the house. The big winner of today's egg count guess, all seeing cats, Hillsboro, Oregon. We have Cape Cod, Massachusetts, Canton, Ohio's in the house, Northern California, Florida, Central East Coast. Let's see. Shout out from Massachusetts, Bumstead, Florida, We have Texas, Southern California, Blue Ridge Mountains of Virginia. We have Milo, Texas, Tulare, California, Edgewater, Florida. So JJ's got a hurricane bearing down on him, guys, down there in Florida too. So let's keep JJ in our thoughts, and hopefully he gets through that with no problem. It's only a Cat 1, so I'm sure that's like a joke for them. But hopefully they have no problem. We have let's see, Gainesville, Florida's in the house. So anyway, we are all over the world. We're all over the country. We are a huge network. We're a huge family. Definitely, we are the ones that truly can make a difference. We can make a difference now. 3 cows already flew by. Did you see the lady on the bicycle with a little dog in the basket? Some of you may know what I'm talking about. Um, Weird reference, I know. But anyway, we're the ones that truly can make a difference now. Yep, Hella was getting a drink. Uh, so she's such a good dog. I'll tell you what. She Wizard of Oz. Yep, Okie Forge. Oh, yep, you guys know what I'm talking about. Um, yeah, I'm sorry. Great movie. Great movie. Love the movie. Always will love the movie. The original Wizard of Oz, not the crappy remake that they did with Johnny Depp. So, but anyway, we truly can make a difference now. We can make a difference afterwards with educating people, and I think we should try to do so. And I think that is important. That's an important aspect. Yeah, dogs. I'll tell you what. I know I've said it a million times, but she is an awesome dog. She is an awesome dog. Very, very lucky that I have her. Yeah, Twister had the flying cow when it was debris. Remember debris? Cow. I like that movie too. I like Twister. Twister was a fun movie. In the original, did you see the person hanging in the background? I believe so. Yes, I think I know. I know what you're talking about, Jay. I haven't seen that in forever, but that was a great, great movie. So anyway, guys, I want to thank my moderators who do an awesome job keeping the chat clean and making sure that we have an enjoyable conversation. So I do appreciate that. I appreciate all of you guys being here. I did get a little bit on my soapbox tonight, so I do apologize for that part. I don't apologize for what I said because like I said, that's my thoughts on it. And again, we really do need to come together. I really would love to see that. I really would, but it's just unfortunately the powers that be are really, really good at manipulation, and they've been doing it for a long, long time, and they know what they're doing, and they know how to push buttons, and that's exactly what they do. So, but remember, folks, we are all in this together. We are one race called the human race. As soon as we can figure that one out, we will be in much, much better shape. We really will be. We have to come together again. We have to stop letting them manipulate us again over race, religion, political affiliation, the vax, the unvax. It's all nonsense. It means nothing. It really doesn't. It doesn't mean a thing. Those are just non-sequential things. If somebody has a different viewpoint than you hate somebody because they think differently than you do. Why? You know, you may think they're nuts, and that's great, but you just the hatred that is perpetuated through the media is sad. It's really, really sad. They like to stroke those fires. There's that old saying, if it bleeds, it leads, right? And they love it, can't get enough of it. But if you don't think that there's an agenda, break it down more. Watch what they do. Watch the commercials. You don't think that there's an agenda? Watch the commercials, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. They're trying to push things on you to make things, what they consider normal, and whatever. You know what I mean? It doesn't really matter. But there's a game that's being played, and we have to stop letting them play it with us. That's all. If we come together and focus on the real problems, which again, and I mentioned it in the stream, big business and the government, boy, we could accomplish a whole lot, right? So also remember, guys, hug and kiss the ones that you love. Tell them every single day. Tomorrow is not guaranteed. We never know what's going to happen in life. So it's really important that we tell the people that we care about every single day how we feel. And last but not least, STD, step, thing, and day. One step at a time, one thing at a time, and one day at a time. Whatever you are trying to accomplish, whatever you are trying to do, you can do it. The only person that is going to stop you from reaching your goal is you. That's it, nobody else. If you stay positive and stay away from the negativity, you will be just fine. And that's it. And realize, if you set realistic goals and then set about to making them happen, you will be amazed at what you can accomplish. It really truly is amazing. So anyway, guys, I hope everybody has a great night. I will see you all tomorrow. Prepper Nurse One, out for now. Be safe.